What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another post game here on Met Central. And disappointment is the only word, honestly, that you could use for this game. Just disappointing. The Mets had the opportunity to step on the Phillies' throats and come back to Citi Field with a 2-0 lead. And you play a good team. You challenge them with some bad pitches, or you don't execute pitches, I should say. And that type of team is going to take advantage. And that's what happened. And it's just disappointing more than anything. Before we jump into everything, please be sure to leave a like on the post game if you do enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Met fans, and turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live on the channel. There is a few people that you could do the finger pointing to here. There's a few. And I don't know which one's the most warranted, because there is, I mean, it's just tough. It's really tough because there were so many opportunities here to pounce on the Philadelphia Phillies, and they just didn't, especially with the fact that the crowd was out of this until the 6th inning when they had that explosive inning to tie the game. You had the crowd out of it, and you had them right on the ropes to go down 2-0, head back to your ballpark, and potentially, threaten their season. And, going back to Citi Field, I didn't see a world where they were losing 2. And now, you got some pressure on you, and it was going to be a close series regardless, probably. I mean, either way, it was going to be a 4 or 5 game series, in my opinion. I always said that I had the Mets in 4, but it sucks still when you had this game on the ropes to lose it, because you had an opportunity, but Luis Severino, every time with him past the 5th inning, they mentioned it on the broadcast, and it's just the truth. Every time with Luis Severino, when it's past the 5th inning, he gets into some trouble, and that maybe is on Mendoza to where he should have pulled him out a little bit earlier. But at the same time, I can't fully blame him, because Edwin Diaz comes into this game, and he has an opportunity to really solidify himself and right the wrongs of a lot of miscues from himself lately, and he just absolutely stinks the joint up. I mean, there's just no way around it. He was terrible. I mean, are you going to blame Tyler McGill? I'm not personally, entirely, because, listen, there are some pitches that he threw that I didn't like, but this is also where I question who was even making some of the decisions with some of these pitches, because with Bryce Harper up there, he hangs a slider that could have went out of the ballpark if Harper barreled that up. And then there was also, so many times where Edwin Diaz, when he was in the game in particular, he, for some reason, I don't know what it is, but with Bryson Stott at the plate, that's your opportunity to attack a hitter. Because no offense to Bryson Stott, and it was a nice triple he had, but I don't look at Bryson Stott and say, you know what, he's going to catch up to your fastball. That's where you have to challenge him with the fastball. And then even Bryce Harper, and I get that him swinging the bat could have changed the game there, but if you're worth over $100 million as a closer, you're going to say, I'm better than you, and I don't care who you are. I don't care what the status of you is. I'm going to challenge you and make you hit my best stuff, and I don't care where I'm locating it. You are going to have to try to hit it. And Edwin Diaz did not do that. I don't know if Alvarez was calling all of those sliders to Bryson Stott especially, or if it was Edwin Diaz shaking it off and wanting to go to the slider there. But whoever's decision that was just terrible. And then Tyler McGill, even on that last at bat, just, again, challenge the hitters, challenge them. And I don't know why 0-2 in the count or 1-2 in the count. Honestly, I don't even remember, because I just was like stunned afterwards. I don't know why Tyler McGill did not go a little bit off the plate there with a heater, because why are you giving him a breaking ball to hit? And especially when you almost hung a breaking ball in the prior at bat to Bryce Harper for him to get just to jump on. And you had him on the ropes there, and, you go to the bottom of the 10th inning, and all of a sudden, I mean, this is a game where anything could happen, and you let this offense, with the way that they have the comeback ability, get their second chance again. Let them do that, and maybe we're talking about a 2-0 series lead, but unfortunately, that's not the case. But I don't blame, I know a lot of people are going to blame Mendoza, because that's just how it goes with blaming the manager. There was really only a few decisions that I didn't like here. Because like I mentioned, Severino probably should have been out of the game after Harper hit that home run realistically, because again, pushing him through when the numbers show that he's not great through 5 and he unravels quickly after the Turner hit, it was maybe risky, but it's like, all right, leave him in there and let him try to figure it out, because it's still at the end of the day, if Harper hits a home run there, it's 3-2. I thought in that spot after Harper hit the home run, you had to take Severino out to really settle down the noise there just in the stadium and not let them get the momentum that they were going to. But then Jose Budo, I mean, he wasn't really any better, as he was getting into some trouble, and it's a shame what he's been doing lately, especially because he was someone that I trusted. And outside of that, with Mendoza, though, the only other decision that he made that I really did not like is that there were a couple of opportunities to put Jesse Winker in this game to let him get up to bat, and potentially, force the hand of the Phillies and force them to just, provide more offense is really what I'm trying to say. Provide more offense, and he didn't do it. He did not turn to Jesse Winker in this game, and I don't know what it is. I get that you want to stick with your defense every now and then, but you needed to there. You really needed to. I'm trying to remember where the exact spot was, because the 9th inning, I'm not mad. Strom was in the game. You don't want him to go against the lefty. I get it. I thought Acuna should have been in that spot, though, because with the way Bader swings the bat, I mean, I'd rather roll the dice with Acuna, and I know that he's a younger player, but I mean, he was hot 2 weeks ago. Why not roll the dice there and see if he could potentially do something for you? And the other spot, yeah, this was the 6th inning when they went to Jose Ruiz. Pete Alonso, after hitting that leadoff home run, Iglesias grounded out, Martinez got that single, Marte lined out, and then Alvarez got the single. Harrison Bader comes up with 2 guys on. I thought that was an opportunity to really step on their throats even more. Like, you put Jesse Winker in, and he gets an extra base hit, and then all of a sudden, if he even walks, bases loaded for Lindor coming up, who knows what happens there? And then all of a sudden, this game could be broke open, and then the Phillies have no life, and then we're talking about something different because they have no fire under them, and they're dead in the water at that point. They're not going to come back. But unfortunately, that's not the case. He went with Harrison Bader there because I guess it was the 6th inning and he wanted to prioritize the defense there. I don't see what would have been the issue if you just, took Bader out there and then put Taylor in the game after. I really don't see the issue with that, but I guess Mendoza didn't want to go there. The thing that's most annoying is, man, it's just like every time my teams have an opportunity to step on the other team's throats in a playoff series, they just don't come through. That's what's really infuriating to me right now. And that's why I'm not even yelling and screaming. I'm just more like disappointed than anything, because a lot of their opportunities too did not come with runners in scoring position, or a lot of their offense, I should say, because they were 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. And it was just a lot of timely, solo shots here and there. You had the one from, you had the 2-run home run from Vientos in the 3rd, and then you had the home run there from Pete Alonso in the 6th. After they tied the game, I said, all right, this offense needs to respond. They're not out of it. Nimmo responds, and I'm like, okay, now all of a sudden you're in a pretty good spot. And unfortunately, though, again, that 8th inning just ended up being disastrous, especially with the error there by Mark Vientos, or they might have ruled it a fielder's choice. I'm not sure. But regardless, that ended up making it 6-4. And then Vientos comes up, and I'm like, all right, here's an opportunity to right your wrong. And he does. He hits the home run there. And I thought at that point, there was no way they were losing this game. I mean, we've seen the script now for the past few weeks that every time the Mets do that, they win the game. Like, more times than not, when they're down and you think they're out, they tie the game or they come back and take the lead, and then they don't let it go. And after 2 quick outs, I mean, Tyler McGill too, not attacking Trey Turner enough was just also a problem, because he was trying way too hard to catch him off the plate with the cutter, with the slider, when he should have tried to attack Trey Turner, because worst case, he hits an extra base hit at that point, and it would have been the same outcome. And again, I would have rather roll the dice there than put yourself in a spot where you had to face Harper, which it was obvious they were going to pitch around him, and there was an opportunity there to get him maybe in the count as well, especially when it was 2-2. You thought maybe there was a chance, but it just didn't happen. Then the Castellanos at bat, you leave a slider right in his wheelhouse, he's going to hit that all day, and you just can't do that. You just can't. Man, It just sucks more than anything. It just sucks. I'm more disappointed than mad because could you imagine if they went up 2-0 in the series coming back to Citi Field, how much the crowd would be on a billion come Tuesday? And it's not taken away entirely because at the end of the day, listen, I think every single one of us, if you said going into the first two games, especially with Zach Wheeler on the mound in one of them, if you said the Mets had an opportunity to split, I am signing the dotted line right then and there because I feel good enough with this team to have the opportunity to come back to Citi Field and win both games there potentially, especially since they have not played in Citi Field in a very long time. Let them get that opportunity to. And unfortunately, you know, it's just, again, it's one of those things where we've talked about it all season, right? Where the Mets, we go into a series, and this was against the Padres and the Diamondbacks most of the time, where we went to those series and we're like, okay, take, 3 out of 4 or a split here, or take 2 out of 3. And they end up doing it, but then you see how it's done to where they lost one of those games or 2 of those games, and you're like, I would have signed up for it, but not in this way. Because if I knew the Mets had an opportunity, especially with a 3-run lead in the 6th inning, to step on the Phillies' throats and take a 2-0 series lead, I would say fuck with it, or tied at 1, because I would want them to take the series lead at that point and come back to Citi Field with a 2-0 series lead. Because at that point, you're probably wrapping up the series here. I mean, I personally can't imagine they lose both at Citi Field. Hopefully that doesn't bite me in the ass. But again, I just have a hard time imagining that. And now you put yourself in a little bit of a hole because now all of a sudden, if you split the series back at Citi Field, you have to face Wheeler again, who you struggled against. But at the end of the day, you have no one to blame but yourself. This was an opportunity to win a game, and Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, they locked the hell in for the Phillies. And you challenge those, or I should say you hang stuff to those two type of hitters. It's just poor decision making there. And again, the start at bat's really the one that confuses me the most, though. That one really puzzled me a lot because if they kept them at bay 4-3, who knows what we're talking about there even then, which, maybe again, Vientos doesn't hit that home run because there's not as much pressure, but I just am puzzled as to why he went with a slider and a 3-2 count there to Bryson Stott when you got to go heater there. You got to challenge him and make him try to catch up to your heater, especially when you were dialing it up to like 99 on the fastball. I don't know, but I have a lot of questions right now about Diaz in general because there's a tweet that I want to pull up with Edwin Diaz. Here we go. So this is from @NYR32C. Diaz's last 5 appearances. Tonight, 25 pitches, 12 strikes. Game 3 of the wild card, 39 pitches, 21 strikes. Game 1 of the doubleheader versus the Braves, 40 pitches, 21 strikes. 5-0 win versus the Brewers, 26 pitches, 13 strikes. And then the game on September 22nd versus the Braves, 30 pitches, 18 strikes. 3-ball counts, and then overcompensates and hangs one. Yeah, and that's honestly the story of how the Mets got killed tonight. Because the falling behind and count stuff, you can't do that against this team because then you're going to have to attack them on that third pitch to get that third strike. And if it's a full count, they're either laying off of it for a walk or they're going to take advantage of it. This is a lethal offense. How many times did we talk about it going into the series? That's the type of offense they have, and you just can't do that. You just can't. And you just look at that one part of the order, too, that the Phillies had going for them, and it's just, man, it's what torched them. Turner going 2 for 4, Harper going 1 for 3, but had a couple walks in there, and that home run, of course. Castellanos 3 for 5 after he was getting booed earlier in the game. Bryson Stott going 2 for 4 with that triple. Man, that sucks. That just stings. And you had an opportunity there. It's nights like this where you really, really miss both Brooks Raley and Dednell Nunez, because if Nunez was here, we were calling him the fireman for a reason, because if Diaz got into that trouble like he did, all of a sudden you bring Nunez in and he's the fireman. He would have got through that, and maybe we're talking about that, but he's not here, so it's a moot point. I can't really even get mad about that. I'm more mad that, Vientos had the game of his life and you just couldn't capitalize on that. And you couldn't capitalize on the fact in general that you had them on the ropes here. And man, now you gave them some confidence that I don't like, because this is a Phillies team where they run with confidence. I mean, that's where they bleed. But yeah. Either way, you got to take advantage of your opportunity now at Citi Field. I'm sorry that I paused for a second. I was reading something on Twitter, but you got one win at Citizens Bank Park. You're going to come back in front of your home fans that you haven't played in front of in a very long time. I mean, it's been a month exactly since Francisco Lindor, to that point, of course. It's been exactly a month since Lindor has taken at bat at Citi Field. The crowd's going to be electric no matter what, and this is your chance. You still have the ball in your court here to get it done in your home ballpark. Sean Manaea, I'm assuming, is going to go in Game 3. I'm not sure if that was announced yet, if that was disclosed, but I'm assuming that's the way they'd go. And then Quintana probably in game number 4, since now the Game 4 is confirmed. Yeah, Manaea versus Nola, it's confirmed. So you got to find a way to get that done. You got to find a way to win at home. I mean, if you find a way to win both, hey, I'm not complaining, but I always said Mets in 4, and it may not get done in the way that I wanted it to, but if they get it done, I'm not complaining. But all I know is that, listen, every time we've counted this team out, they've proved us wrong, so I'm not entirely counting them out, but it definitely, I think it definitely humbled a lot of fans, especially because there were a lot of fans that were talking a little too much after one game, and I get it. The Mets beat Zach Wheeler, and, you win that game. All of a sudden, you think that's an opportunity where you're going to win the series, because Game 2, you should win that game then. But unfortunately, didn't end up being the case. And even in this game, I mean, if Reed Garrett was available, that would have helped. I know someone said in the chat Peterson, which you had to use him in that last game, so it's hard to really get mad about that. Stanek even would have been a little bit nice to have, Maton, but whatever. What's done is done. You have your bullpen a little bit more rested for Tuesday, outside of maybe Edwin Diaz and Tyler McGill, which, listen, I like the odds. I like the odds still of coming back to Citi Field, at least winning one game, which I'd like to take both, but you got to at least take one here. And if not, your season's done. So the crowd's going to be ready to go, though. I can tell you that. I can tell you the crowd's going to be ready to go. But let me get to the chat. Like I said, leave a like, though, if you haven't already, and subscribe, all that other stuff. But let's see, you guys are saying Sevy falls off the ledge too quickly. Yeah, when that situation came up there, when I want to walk through that inning again, and that's why I'm trying to get it pulled up right now. But that 6th inning, or sorry, not 6th inning. Yeah, 6th inning. I got it wrong. I had the wrong thing up as well just now. I don't know what I'm doing right now, but regardless, here, let me get to it again. Let me get to it. My brain's just all over the place now. Yeah, that 6th inning. I get that he gets the first 2 outs, especially the Schwarber one. After the Turner one, with the way he unravels, you could argue he should have been out there, but I could understand, again, giving him the one batter, because you think, okay, if Harper hits a home run here, it's 3-2, but you got to take him out then when Castellanos comes to the plate, especially if he hits a home run there. You don't want to let them get all the momentum, but unfortunately that didn't end up happening. And either way, it is... The only thing making me feel better is I don't know if anyone coming into that situation would have made things better. It is weird, though. I can tell you right now that we have not seen Danny Young touch the mound once this postseason still. We are 5 games in, and we've not seen Danny Young once. He's clearly out of the circle of trust. At some point, you're going to have to trust him, though, because you can't keep getting by with a short relief staff here. Max saying one of the worst L's I've seen from this team. Unreal. It's just a gut punch. What a shitty way to lose. We're not expected to win, too. Got the split. Yeah, and that's the only thing that you could really hang your hat on is that they did get the split, which was ideal going into it. But it's just, again, when you have the opportunity right in front of you to step on their throats and go up 2-0, you'd like to do it. But, yeah, you got the split. Rivera wasn't pitching scared. I mean, no one should compare Diaz to Rivera, but... yeah, Diaz needed to be a lot better because if he gets any sort of big out in that inning, we're talking about a win here. Or at least maybe talking about a win here. Who knows how the rest of that ninth inning unravels. I don't know, but I'd have to think they at least get out of it because they wouldn't pitch around Trey Turner and Bryce Harper especially Trey Turner, when they're probably up by like 2 or 3 at that point. I mean, there's no way you're pitching around Turner, and maybe we're talking about a different result here, but at the end of the day, yeah, this falls on Edwin not getting a big out. I can't agree with this being on Mendoza. I can't get behind that. He made a couple of decisions that maybe he shouldn't have made, but to say it's Mendoza's fault entirely, I'm not there. I'm just not. I can't blame Mendoza when, again, your pitchers didn't come through. At some point, somebody in the bullpen has to come through and get big outs for you. And the fact that Budo couldn't give you a full inning hurts. The fact that Diaz looked the way he did hurts. And, the fact that you had to be in that spot where Tyler McGill even had to pitch for an extended period of time as well hurts, because if Diaz gets through that inning and, Tyler McGill comes in fresh for a full inning, changes things. So... sucks. Budo ain't built for the postseason. Budo does not look great. I mean, there's no way around it. He's not looked great. So hoping for a sweep and let our pitchers refresh their arms. Well, unfortunately, that won't be the case. And again, that's what sucks, because there was an opportunity there. But if there's one thing we've seen from this team all year, it's the ability to come back into the office the next game and respond. And that's what they got to do now. And with Sean Manaea on the bump, you have an opportunity. And it sucks because Severino was great up until that point. And, if he was just able to get through that inning, especially, that also just stings so much. Like, he should have got through that inning. Would have been nice to have Peterson. You also needed him, though, yesterday. It's hard to say that when you really needed Peterson yesterday. It's just annoying that our closer here, our closer couldn't trust his fastball. Chat, everyone in the chat saying they gotta find a new closer. Yes and no. I mean, Diaz needs to trust his fastball, man. He needs to trust his fastball, and if he gets beat with that, then yeah. But I also saw a pitcher that is he's over relying way too much on one pitch. He relied way too much on that slider, and you just can't do that. You just can't against this team. I mean, either way, having a 2-pitch mix against this team, scary to begin with, but he override. I mean, he threw 17 sliders out of his 25 pitches today. That's just not good enough. Like, that's not going to cut it at all. You have to trust your fastball. Felt like the same script as Game 3 against Milwaukee, minus the blown lead. Yeah, I mean, to me, it felt more like the script of Game 2 against Milwaukee, sadly. Will the Mets bounce back and beat the Phillies in Game 3 in New York and take a 2-1 lead? I'm hoping so. I'm not going to sit here and, get cocky and arrogant. Listen, I said Mets in 4. I will stick by my guns until I physically can't, and if the Mets, God forbid, drop another game here. But I'll stick with my guns and say Mets in 4. I predicted them to lose game 1 and then win the next 3. Maybe that was unrealistic, and maybe you just got to lose this first game and handle some adversity. Handle a little more adversity, and it sucks too because you do have Aaron Nola going in game 3, which isn't... but again, you have Sean Manaea on your side, so it's like you have the guy that you want in game 3 to pitch, and this is it. There are times that they've owned Nola. There are times they've struggled against Nola, and you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta own him this go around. Who are they gonna pitch game 4? Probably Q. I would say Quintana's gonna pitch game 4. Barring a scenario where I don't know. I don't even know a scenario where he doesn't, because maybe if Peterson doesn't pitch on Tuesday, there's a world Peterson starts and then Quintana comes in, maybe. But I think Quintana is going to just pitch game 4. I think he gets the start, and I know that scares a lot of people, but we have to have a little bit of faith in Quintana right now. I mean, every time he's gone out there the past few times, he's shoved a bit. So Sevy gave up too many home runs. Yeah. Sevy has to execute a lot better there. Who would the Phillies pitch game 4? Oh, you said who are they pitching? I'm sorry that I read that wrong. I apologize, Max. I'm like so out of it right now. Ranger Suarez, maybe Ranger Suarez. So you have a chance here. You have a chance. Like, again, that's why you got the split. You're handling a little bit of adversity, and again, maybe it's better to handle the adversity going into Citi Field versus again, I don't want to downplay it because I hate that mentality of just being like, oh, maybe this is a better scenario to be in. But in terms of the split on this, hear me out. Maybe it's better that they won game 1 and then lost game 2, and now they're going to go into game 3 with a little bit of adversity and a little more pressure. Maybe that's better for them, because you come home up, or not up, I mean, after winning against their after winning this game and losing game 1, maybe you get a little too cocky and arrogant and you take your foot off the gas. Maybe. I don't want, again, I hate doing that. I'm so against, it goes against everything I say and everything that I do in terms of that, because when you have an opportunity to go up 2-0, you got to do it. But if we're talking in the optics of, okay, we head into the series and want to split, maybe this was what they needed in terms of the split, where they win game 1, lose game 2. But I could be wrong. I don't know. That's the last game I need to see from Harrison Bader. Yeah, Bader shouldn't have been taking an at-bat there in the 6th. And Mendoza's going to have to learn to get just as aggressive as he's been with the pitching at times with the lineup, because you could not leave Bader in that spot with 2 guys on, and I get there's 2 outs. You cannot let Bader hit there, man. That's an opportunity to break the game open. You got to take advantage there and demoralize the team, the ballpark. That was right there, and now you gave them a little bit more confidence there, and maybe the Phillies end up getting too cocky now. Who knows? But we'll see. Nothing to worry about. Splitting in Philly is all we could have asked for. I have that. That's how I'm trying to feel right now. That's how I'm trying to feel. Do I think Winker plays? I think you mean on Tuesday. Maybe with Nola on the mound. Maybe. I mean, I'd like to see it because I want to see this team maximize their offense and then worry about the defense. I mean, I talked about that going into the Milwaukee series, where I wanted to see them roll their best bats out, and even if it cost them some defense, roll the best bats out, because once you get that lead, you could put the defense in late and you could maximize that. And it's not so they couldn't have a lead in this game to where Luis Torrens would have came in the catch and maybe things go differently, because maybe Torrens calls the game a little bit differently. But again, woulda, coulda, shoulda. But I am going to wrap things up here. I've been going for about 30 minutes. got to find a way to bounce back now in game 3 with the fans in attendance. I will be there on Tuesday, so the post game is going to be a little bit later on during that day, and then same goes for Wednesday. I'm going to be in attendance for both of those games, so you guys will not hear from me until later on in those days. And let's just hope that the Mets find a way to bury the Phillies here at Citi Field. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. Don't forget to leave a like if you haven't already. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live on the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.